June 10, 24. Good morning. Still in Florida? Right on. That'll take a while. What do you want to talk about? Morning, Nick. What was that picture you sent me of? Was that an AI generated thing? Was that a concept art? Yeah, I bet it was, Travis. Uh, he looked like he lost some weight. Okay. I've been experimenting with some other GPTs too. Um, it's crazy. He looks tired. That stuff will wear you out. It was nice to see a picture. Thanks for the pictures. The one from the Waffle House, especially, made me think, man, I just don't know if Waffle House will ever be the same when Shakes is gone. Mm. Or railroad tracks. I don't know. Did he say anything about the prognosis? I'll show you some of the. Good. I'm glad that y'all did talk about. Oh, y'all talked about the going to the Waffle House. Did y'all talk about the crazy long Waffle House experience? It was probably only, I don't know, 10 minutes or something. I don't. Time didn't exist. There was no time in Waffle House. I'm gonna show you something to follow. 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 Follow this shit. Oh boy, I just played the intro again. Cool. Um, oh, and I've got my nameplate on from another broadcast. Oops. I was using AI to make some of this stuff. And there's supposed to be music on it. As far as I know, if you go on the phone, there's music on it. There was yesterday. Um, but short little snippet clippets from the album. Good Die Young, I'll Be Here Forever. An AI generated all of this. The picture, that is. Not the music. Until the love is gone. Makes me wonder how you could ever love me. I did a whole GPT-4 um, analysis on, well, English critique, analysis, and interpretation on the album. So that took a while because GPT-4 is limited if you're not paying for it. So I forget when or how long all that took. Let's see. Okay, well, I appreciate it, man. I love you too. Be safe on the road. If you're a little more tech savvy, you could just pop in to the Discord and ping me and be like, yo, plug me in. Be kind of like a phone call. Kind of. Be safe on the road. So, Nick, what is Theta? I have no idea. See, this one it shows the music. It's not playing it. And these don't show music and are not playing anything. I'm curious. If you go to the Instagram, can you hear the music on those two posts there? There's one scheduled. I forget how many are scheduled. Bite-sized self-help content. The record is a self-help record. This is what it amounts to. It's a self-help record. Nick, you want to hear some analysis? I've sent all of this to Travis, and Cynthia's read it all. But I didn't sleep very well last night. I woke up in the middle of the night, and I went to bed at 4:30. When you put the two times together, I got enough sleep, but I woke up in the middle. I have a lot of phone calls to make today. I have to call Snap and try to get my benefits reinstated due to bureaucratic stuff, paperwork that I was supposed to do. And I went to go do it, and they said, you don't need to do it. And I said, are you well, and then I can do on a website. So, because it said I didn't need to do it. And then I got a mail saying, your food stamps are canceled. So, I'll be looking at an empty fridge soon. Not that soon, though, because there's a lot of meat over here. I can cook the meat. But I was planning on starting hurricane preparations this week as soon as possible. And also, I sent an email to my psychiatrist because the prescription, blah blah blah, they didn't fill it. So I have two, and I don't want to go back and pick up the second one at a different time. I'd rather just get them both at the same time. And see, I probably need to call SSA.gov just so that it logs a call. I was supposed to make a list on the board yesterday. I'm going to go for a walk today at some point. I need to call. Who was it? Who's it's? I don't remember. Okay, you draw shapes. Krita. You draw shapes of the things you want. Select the area in Krita and use a plugin with stable diffusion running. Now, is that a 3D thing? Can that be implemented in a 3D space? Or can it extrapolate a 3D place from a 2D image or something like that? I could be way off. I have no idea what kind of tools you're working with. I'm waiting for Whitney to show up and talk about AI. Basketball game today. When I go for a walk, there's basketball players play basketball. Yeah, so I started going through some of the backflash stuff from my playlist, the one that's in sequential order. When I was going for a walk yesterday, it was nice just to hear. Hey, you're here. Good morning, Whitney. Yeah, talking about AI, and I've been using it a lot. I used it to just for the like the to critique, analyze, and interpret the poetry that I wrote that goes with my songs on the album, or the lyrics, and it's crazy, man. Because, like I was saying about, or asking Nick about, does this AI extrapolate? It actually did really well, Whitney. It did better than some of the other stuff that I tried to feed it. Some my friend Skeeter's stuff, like it did a really good job. I don't know why it does a good job on some things and not others, but it helped me to understand what the hell, you know, to do with this album. Every time I have talked to Rick since about this album or Matt's album, he's asking, well, when you gonna market this and promote this and go play this? Well, I can get a band together to play it. How to market it? I didn't know. And I guess in a way I didn't even know what I had. So I couldn't market it if I don't know exactly what I have. So I tell you what, if you have a favorite on the album, I'll read the analysis. If you don't, I'll just pick one at random. And then you know, if you have a favorite, then you can tell me how you think it did. But uh, it's almost like Campbell's condensed soup of an album. It extrapolates into like it makes a lot of presumptive things that aren't incorrect. That's the thing that tripped me out, Whitney, is that it presumed a lot of things and they were correct. Yes, I know your favorite. I do. Yes, Whitney. It hallucinates, right? That's what they call it, hallucination. Is that the right term when it comes to that? My cousin Matt works with it every day. He has issues with it all the time in that regard. And, you know, it's one of those like dice roll things. Like sometimes it'll be, you know, it'll act right. And sometimes it's like, it's almost like a person, like catching a person at the right time. You know, they might give you a really good output, uh, but at the wrong time, it might be, you know, colored with all kinds of distractions and worry and whatever, uh, bias. You know, there's definitely bias in this stuff. Um, but it's a fucking self help album. It's a self help album, and it's an album that was made in a just a peculiar way, I guess, because I almost, you know, it almost didn't get made. I forget that. I forget how close it was to me just saying fuck it. And in order to make other people happy temporarily. And that's a big fucking thing right now for me in therapy is doing things in order to make other people happy. And how much of a blind spot that is for me. Uh, because I don't, it's hard to think that I do that. It does better when you ask it to be someone that's award winning or some specific type of person, and then also say things like please and thank you. Uh, Interesting. Okay. Well, I did say that because this album did win an award. So that's interesting that you point that out. And it did do a better job than it did on Skeeter stuff. So maybe I should say Skeeter is an award winning songwriter, blah, 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 blah. You give me analysis. Because it did not output enough information for some of the Band of Sinners stuff. It was just kind of like, yeah, this is what this thing is about. Here's analysis. But it just extrapolated so much on this material that it gave me a whole marketing perspective, um, which is kind of like, you know, and as soon as it happened, I start seeing videos on Facebook about this guy saying, had a bad day, stand right here. And then he comes out and plays the song. Good morning, Blues. It's your favorite thing to do. Well, that's awesome. I guess. come sit on Come sit on the Group D bench. I don't know if that song ever made it popular overseas. Uh, the Alice's Restaurant Massacre. AI is mocking up its own reality. Now, is that like a some? Are you speaking some Scientologies, or are you just using the regular version of the words? So as it turns out, the album's really fucking depressing, but there are themes of hope and well, not necessarily hope, resilience. Resilience is a recurring theme. It's part of the clear cognition, is it? I wouldn't know. I never had the clear cognition. I think the first thing that I did was that helped me was locational processing. And the last thing I ever did that truly changed my life was the doubt condition, which is basically a thing that, oh, yeah, this is something that my therapist is like, well, make a list of things on left, things about anything, good, good things, bad things, and then just look at the size of them. Is one side, bigger than the other by a lot or by a little? Are those things you can change or not? And it's essentially the doubt condition. So there's always truth buried in nonsense. I think I've given up on this, in my own mind discrediting maniacs. There's so many maniacs on the world stage, but I think I'm kind of done with the in my own mind discrediting something, because you never know. You never know. Also, I did not give much, thought to it. Sort of hear it. Nick thought that was OT3 in phenomenon, huh? Now, I think OT3 phenomenon is different. In trying to find that, I don't know, in phenomenon, no, not world in phenomenon, got me typing it, OT3, not OF3, Scientology, OT3, in phenomenon. Let's see. That's it's not showing. Oh, here we go. Wall of fire. So let's see. Doesn't show the in phenomenon. Appendix D. Oh. Yeah. They're making this shit harder and harder to find. Good morning, Belladonna. Okay, well, you didn't say you had a favorite, so I'll just start at the beginning. Uh, Pinwheel. This is the first song on the album, and there's just 4 lines to the first verse. Past life clear. Mm. Do what you want till it really drives you crazy. Leave it all behind. They don't care about you. You're in my world now. It's upside down. No one here can take away your crown. Analysis and interpretation. Just out of this bit. The opening line suggests a sense of rebellion and individualism. The directive to do what you want till it really drives you crazy implies the pursuit of personal desires and ambitions to the point of madness. The notion of leaving everything behind because they don't care about you suggests a feeling of abandonment or a lack of recognition from others. The world being upside down can indicate chaos or dramatic shift in perspective, perhaps reflecting the disorientation that comes with breaking away from societal norms. The mention of a crown implies a sense of self-worth or a unique identity that remains intact despite external turmoil. Interpretation. This verse might be interpreted as an anthem for personal freedom and resilience. It encourages embracing one's path regardless of external opinions or obstacles, asserting that one's intrinsic value, your crown, cannot be taken away by others. The upside-down world could symbolize the internal and external upheaval that accompanies such a journey. Yet, it suggests empowerment in maintaining self-identity through the chaos. Second verse, do what you want till it really drives you crazy. Leave it all behind. There ain't nothing here worth saving. Nothing here is ever working out. Don't let all the noise drown you out. Analysis. This is what I mean by extrapolate. There's 4 verses of poetry. Reiterating the theme of doing what you want, this verse introduces a more nihilistic tone with there ain't nothing worth saving. This line suggests a profound disillusionment or dissatisfaction with the current state of things. The assertion that nothing here is ever working out reinforces this sense of futility. However, the line, don't let all this noise drown you out, offers a counterpoint, suggesting perseverance and the importance of maintaining one's voice and sense of self amid chaos and negativity. Interpretation. This verse might be seen as expressing a deep-seated frustration with life or circumstances, yet it simultaneously encourages resilience. The noise, in quotations, represents distractions, criticisms, or societal pressures that can obscure one's true self or purpose. The lesson here could be about finding strength in adversity and remaining true to oneself despite external challenges. All right, so that's all coming so far out of just 8 lines. And here's the next 4. Do what you want till it really drives you crazy. Ain't nobody here gonna come along and save me. No one here will ever make a sound. Leave it all behind and shut your mouth. Analysis. In this verse, the focus shifts slightly to a more introspective and solitary perspective. The recognition that Ain't nobody here going to come along and save me suggests self reliance and an understanding that one must take control of their own destiny. The silence of others, and no one here will ever make a sound, could imply a lack of support or acknowledgement from those around. The directive to leave it all behind and shut your mouth conveys a sense of finality and resignation, perhaps suggesting that actions speak louder than words and that one should forge ahead without seeking validation or assistance from others. Interpretation, the final verse reinforces themes of self-sufficiency. This is all off of 12 lines. And determination. It acknowledges the reality that external help or recognition may not come, urging a focus on personal action and inner strength. The lesson here could be about accepting the solitary nature of certain struggles and the importance of forging ahead independently, trusting one's own resolve and abilities. Overall interpretation of Pinwheel appears to revolve around themes of individualism, resilience, and self-reliance. The repeated encouragement to do what you want till it really drives you crazy highlights the importance of pursuing personal desires and ambitions, even in the face of chaos and disillusionment. The song acknowledges a lack of external support or recognition, but counters this with an emphasis on inner strength and maintaining one's sense of identity. Takeaway lessons: embrace individuality. Pursue your own path and desires, even if they seem unconventional or lead to chaos. Self-reliance. Recognize that you may need to rely on yourself for motivation and support, as external validation may not come. Resilience in adversity. Maintain your voice and identity despite external noise and challenges. And actions over words. Focus on actions rather than seeking external validation or assistance. Song ultimately serves as a powerful reminder of the importance of staying true to oneself and persevering through personal and external turmoil. So, yeah, let's play it. And give me a break from speaking. Make sure I don't blow everyone's ears out. I'm gonna get flagged for this. I don't care.
Till it really drives you crazy.
So that was the song, which Nick said the AI fell flat on uh, the analysis. I mean, and you're not wrong. It says there's a clear internal conversation the person is having, me, the person, I'm assuming, about feelings of a dynamic interpersonal nature. Well, hell yeah. I guess I take for granted that not all music is, or not all songwriters do that. Um, but, in the process of trying to turn that into something else, um, and sublimate, yeah, I guess the only way that I was figuring I could do it was with the ambiguity. Um, so, mm, it might fall flat, the analysis, but it gives me enough to, uh, I think it gives me enough to, with the other commentary, footage, performances, photos, and stuff to work with. I just didn't expect to be working with like those kind of themes. For whatever silly reason, I thought this was a rock album. Yeah, no, it's something else. That's why I turned to GPT. I'm like, what the fuck is this, and you know, how do I promote it? And then I was thinking about some artists here in Louisiana who've passed or committed suicide, and how little people cared about their work. Um, and and then I look at those same artists, one in particular, and there's some others that aren't in Louisiana that I think about that are still alive for now. Um, where in other places around the world, it's celebrated and appreciated. Um, I mean, on average, you could make four. I could make four times more per show in another country. And this is something that I thought about a lot when Deej killed himself, because he spent a lot of time out of the country. Uh, because no one would come to his shows here. And even if he did shows here, well, I say that he had good shows here. There were people that would show up, but it was, you know, it was like a given. Like they might go, they might not. There were all, every show over there in Switzerland or Germany or France or Holland or London, wherever. Like he made more money, and it was packed, and they bought his merchandise, and he was able to make a living. And from Lafayette, I mean, you can do that here if you play blues or if you play Cajun music or Creole music or Zydeco. But not all of us had the good. And there's also this whole, I'll just say it, mafioso kind of vibe. Even though there's no violence, it's just that I know of. There's no violence, but there's like, you got to be blood. You have to be traceable in order to be a valid Creole artist, or Cajun French artist. which usually means you have to grow up in around Acadiana and, speak Creole French or be around a bunch of Creole people. And so even if you're not from, let's say you're not from that parish and you know the music, well, that doesn't mean that people can go see you or pay you to see your show or buy your merchandise or consider you a bona fide or legit, person to go listen to Cajun Creole or blues music. So Deej got his foot in the door with psychedelic blues because he couldn't just do the blues. It's just so overdone. I love the blue. I love blues, but it's so overdone. And when you start playing overdone blues, people really put pressure on you to start playing other people's music because yours sounds the same as everyone else's. So why not just play the good songs? um, yeah, all in the family, as they say. Yeah. Um, I'm not going to name family names, but I'll name one family that was instrumental in the preservation of the Cajun and Creole music culture from the 60s, the 50s and 60s, the Balfas, Balfas, Balfa Brothers. And from there, that was a whole new, I don't know if you want to call it, if I'd call it a dynasty or whatever, but it's sort of like a blessing, so to speak. And there's a separate there were racial markers too that weren't there before, like Creole versus Cajun became a racial marker when before it was the same damn thing. Cajun was a subset of Creole, but when the Cajun French Music Association was founded, it was mostly white. It was all white. So my grandfather is a what do you call it? Inductee in the Hall of Fame in the Cajun French Music Association. He played well into his 80s until he had to go into a home himself. He would play in the nursing homes. And he continued the tradition. He had a famous song called the Train Song, which I need to get onto a digital format. This only exists in tape right now. He did this really interesting thing with his voice where he could make it sound like a train whistle. And the song is really short, but it's about him growing up in Basile and hearing a train. And that was one of the most exciting things that could happen in a day. It was, the train came. He was 98 when he died, I think. He was born in a back of a cart, like a wooden cart in Oberlin, Louisiana. They were taking her to a doctor to get delivered, taking my grandmother to deliver the baby, and the bumpy road just bloop, 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 blop, came out. He was born in a field, in the back of a cart in a field. It's hard to imagine how rough things were back then. He got kicked in the head by a donkey when he was 5 or 6, and it knocked his brains out. And they put him in the chicken pen or chicken coop, in the hay where it was nice and cool under the shade and all that, and they would have they had traiteurs back then, and so they weren't really doctors, come pray. And he healed. It took a long time, but he healed, and that was considered a miracle. And you could see on his head. I mean, since he was young, and young heal really efficiently, I guess, or voraciously. Uh, the piece of skull that got kicked, kind of broke in one piece, so it grew back, but you could still see like this, you know, roundness around where he got kicked. Yeah, Belladonna. It's a good long age. He grew up tough. Yeah, yeah. Things in the yeah. He grew up in the Creole parishes, uh, in the 20s, 30s, something like that. I don't I don't remember when he was born. Let me look it up. I'm sure there's a picture of Tony LaFleur uh, on the interwebs. There's his. Yep, here he is. 1918. So yeah, he's born right around the 20s. So he grew up in the 20s and 30s. Um, 95. 95. Was born April 20th near Durald in Oberlin, by the banks of Bayou Nepique. That's how you say that. I don't know if you can see it, but this word, it looks like Nezpeak, but they say it's Nepique. At was age 7. He was nearly fatally injured when a horse kicked him between the eyes. He always attributed the prayers and loving care of his mother and family for saving his life and bringing him back to health over 2 years. 2 years of recuperation. He served his country in the U.S. Marine Corps during World War II in 1948. And this is a time period where they were really trying to bust up the Creole parishes and offering people all sorts of things. In this case, a job. Working as a carpenter, he became a building contractor. 98, inducted into the Hall of Fame, Cajun French Music Association, the Lake Charles chapter. And I'll tell you, well, whatever. He was a 4th-degree knight. I don't know what that means. He was married to my grandmother for 62 years. She was a Frugier. So, yeah, that was a beautiful way. He died in a beautiful way with his family all around him singing. We just sat around the bed. He had a big room. And we sang old, uh, old gospel songs, really. Stuff that my Uncle Farnell could play on the guitar. And I got his guitar after he died, his Alvarez, and it was stolen. I have no idea how or where. It was there and it was gone. And it was absolutely shocking. It was. I tend not to be too sentimental anymore because I've just lost so many things that were so important. So losing important things it's just that's gonna happen. You know, it may not happen to you many times, but it's still gonna suck. I just I barely get sentimental about anything. I that guitar meant a lot to me, and one of my cousins made me feel really shitty about it. He uh, got a wild hair and decided to just give me a big guilt trip. And what's funny is that he's a very Christian man. You know, reads the Bible, went to seminary, and instead of meeting him with aggression, I just said, "Yeah, you're right. You're right. I'm a sinner. I'm a terrible person. What more can I do to appease and and grovel? And you know, like what should I do? What should I do? You tell me. Um, what punishment do I deserve for having my grandfather's guitar stolen? It's my fault, right? It's my fault somebody stole it because I must have done something irresponsible with one of the most treasured instruments I've ever held in my hands. It must have been my irresponsibility that even allowed such a thing to happen. You can verify what? Dead girl. What is it this thing you can verify? And I'm not sure what is touching exactly. I uh I watched this, well some of it. I watched a short video uh about ladder safety. Or no, he did a video of some pyramid, safety pyramid, as Chris Shelton, and he keeps repeating that he has a master's degree, and actually, and this is what they call joking and degrading in Scientology. Is that the one that's an hour and 25 minutes? No, I may have to go into what is it? History. Okay. Yeah. The Heinrich Safety Pyramid.
You can't have.
Okay. This shit cracked me up. I know it's like he's poking fun and it's a parodying. He's parodying Chris Shelton. And I don't watch Chris Shelton. I just talk to him. I don't know what kind of content he does. Um, I watched him years ago. Um, but there's this part that made me laugh out loud.
Okay, on his part, on Aaron Smith Levin's part, I need to see a lot of groveling. I need to see a lot of begging.
Okay, so apparently some kind of conflict between Chris and Aaron.
I have to go to bed and cry all night about this. I'm asking for and demanding that Aaron Smith Levin, I'm asking for and demanding an apology. If I don't get my apology, I will turn up the heat on him, and he will regret ever turning on me. He was the one that read my text. You don't read my text. I read your text. I'm the man. I'm the one. Aaron doesn't have a master's degree. Aaron doesn't even have a bachelor's degree. Aaron doesn't even barely have a second grade education. So, Aaron is way down here, and we're up here with our master's degree and, honorary master's degree. Anyone watching the stream and subscribe, folks. So, that's where we're at with in a nutshell. And
I'm waiting for a specific part where he talks about being a nice guy.
It's Aaron, you guys watch Aaron streams. He could barely read and write. All right, he doesn't know how to talk. He doesn't know how to read comments. Ooh, okay. So
okay.
Yeah, let's just get the facts straight and settle down.
Oh
here,
God.
Because nobody crosses me, Chris Shelton. All right.
Chad cracks me up, man.
Those are facts. Okay. And they're backed up by documents, folks. So, like I said, question me, feel my wrath. All right. These people are beneath me. So, I don't even really want to hear Aaron's name anymore because he's insignificant piece of dust. My channel's better than his. So, my car is better than his. And, case closed. All right. So, I hope we learned something from the pyramid, folks. Safety is good. And Aaron doesn't talk about these subjects.
Wait, are you getting a kick out of this?
He was barely in Scientology at all. He wasn't even in the Sea Org. He doesn't even barely know what the Sea Org is. I'm the one that knows what the Sea Org is. I was the one in the Sea Org.
Oh, God.
I was his boss. He was a lowly grunt under me. He was a peasant. And, I was the one giving him orders. Aaron, I was going to say something negative about Aaron just now, but I was told I couldn't say those words on TV here.
Feel my wrath.
So I'll have to go ahead and bite my tongue on that one.
Hey, Beach.
And, everything Aaron does is just for show.
Beach.
Okay. Aaron, you can't believe just because something's on TV that it's the truth. Okay. If you want the truth, you come to me. My name's Chris Shelton. Inbox me. You write me a letter. I'll tell you the truth. All right. So nothing Aaron says or has said in the past 50 years has been truth.
50 years.
And these are facts. So
I don't even think he's that old.
Go ahead and research him. But these are facts, folks. If you don't believe me, believe the facts. I deal with facts. I don't believe with nonsense. I don't deal with non-production. And you guys don't put up with non-production either, folks. I might be running for city councilman since everyone else screwed up the city. I'm the only one that could fix it, folks. With your help, of course.
Okay. I'm waiting for it.
Well, I don't need Stephanie's help talking about Aaron because I could bash Aaron myself. Like I said, you guys were on his stream, I'm sure, when Aaron read my private communications to him, which is illegal, very illegal. He could be jailed for up to 50 years for reading that text. I didn't authorize that. So, I will be talking to the district attorney about that, and he should watch out. Because one of these days he's going to go too far, and today might just be that day, folks. Because, like I said, if I
this shit's hilarious to me, y'all.
If I go to the district attorney tomorrow and say arrest Aaron because he read my
arrest him
out loud,
he read my text,
then I'll be in jail. So his empire is weakening. Okay. He's one step further to being in prison. Okay, he
Okay.
thinks he could talk all this stuff on his channel. My channel's better than his, folks. Okay, and these are facts. So Aaron should step down. Aaron should admit he's not a man. Never was a man. He's trying to play a man's game, but he's not a man.
Oh
Okay,
gosh.
so let's
Come on,
just
say it.
call it.
The
Call it what
timing
it
on
is,
this thing that he
folks.
says is so good.
All right, you know what I mean. So, and I occasionally watch Aaron's channel. All he does is put out
Yes,
old
Blues.
information.
It is,
Now
isn't it?
he puts out information that stories that I broke and stories that Tony Ortega broke. And he puts them out the day after, like he broke the stories, folks. He didn't do nothing. All right, I was the one doing research with Tony Ortega in the underground bunker. And Levin doesn't even appreciate it. He doesn't pay us for our work. We're the ones that broke the story. All right. So, his studio is amateuristic. Okay.
Okay.
And, he doesn't know how to run a channel. All right. So I'm the one that knows how to run a channel.
You don't know how to run a channel. I know how to run a channel. You don't. You're not good. I'm good.
Presentation. I don't see Levin making any presentations. So all he does is talk about Scientology. He's never barely been in Scientology, folks.
You weren't in Scientology. I was in Scientology.
Lee won't talk to him. Rinder won't talk to him. That's the kind of guy he is. If you could even call
people
him
won't even
that.
talk to him. That's the kind of guy he is.
Can, but if people want to do that, that's fine. For now, until he goes in jail, because he violated.
Oh.
I feel violated. He read my text. I did not authorize that.
Oh.
It's actionable.
He is hilarious. Thank you.
It's a civil action.
Not everyone gets the humor. I see like Steve Martin in this dude.
It wasn't right. It wasn't fair. And these are facts, backed up by documents. And like I said, I'm the one bringing you the pyramid.
Hold
Levin
on.
is never.
You feel violated. I don't want that. I don't want you to feel violated in the no-no spots. I missed it, apparently. Hold on. Maybe it's at
I've
the
been
end.
watching his channel on and off because I do have to monitor his movements. He's never brought you a pyramid before, folks. I brought you the pyramid. I'm the one.
He doesn't have pyramids. I have pyramids.
And, you know what I mean? So we should be responsible when we talk about me, Mr. Chris Shelton. As you guys know.
Oh, I got you, Whitney.
By now, or should know, I do hold a master's degree. So, like I said, we don't need to repeat it, but Aaron doesn't not have a master's degree.
I'm so lost, but I don't even care because I love his
and these are facts. I think we're about ready to get going, folks.
Where's the thing?
Hope everyone has a great night. I genuinely thank you for watching.
He says I'm one of the nice guys.
It makes my night. Not just
3 best chair workouts to lose your
Oh my God.
In this app, a personalized plan.
Just human behavior. I agree with that, folks. Here's the pyramid for anyone that didn't. 88% of all injuries and accidents. And we'll go through the slides, folks.
I should have just played it from the top.
It means more that I'm saying it than anyone else because I do have the master's degree, folks.
It means more than I'm saying.
Appreciate you guys being here today. It's an honor and a privilege. Okay, so let's look at the slides, folks. How's everyone doing? Hey, Laura, how you doing? Thanks for coming. We were talking about the Henrich Safety Pyramid.
Okay, I'm not gonna be. I know I'm not gonna be able to find it right now, but he says, I'm a nice guy. I got an award for that at the cult convention. I got an award for being a nice guy at the cult convention. That shit had me floored. Had me floored. Oh my God. It means more when I say it, you know? God damn. Oh, fuck. I don't know what's going on. This popped up, and I do, like, if I see Chad doing something, I'll, it's usually short stuff, so I check it out. And I saw that. I watched this whole thing. It's fucking hilarious. Chris and I get along fine. I don't think he would appreciate this, but hey, people are gonna when you put yourself in the public, people can put themselves in the public and parody you. Yeah, I mean there's not a lot of. I mean, look, there's 16 things, thumbs or whatever. Chad is a mysterious guy, but I love his fucking sense of humor. I love his sense of humor. It's playful and childish, and you can't take it too seriously, But he goes over the Heinrich safety pyramid and the whole history of H.W. Heinrich and how he got the ball rolling to get OSHA, to form OSHA. What is the head bouncer? Like the head bouncer, like of a club type thing situation? Is that what you mean? I could see that. See, I don't know what's going on. Crapping all over the Jane Does. What happened? I have no idea. I really do try to. Yes, Whitney. Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And it's like, there's definitely proverbial stuff on this. Speak softly and carry a long stick or whatever. Like, and he doesn't even. He's not even really attacking Chris. He's just parodying. And parody is, I've been told by comedians who have gone to lots and lots of, experienced comedians. How about that? Experienced comedians have told me parody is the lowest form of comedy. That doesn't mean it's the worst. It just means it's like where you start. It's a good place to start is parody. And so this is a big parody here. I have no idea why Chris Shelton is being parodied, but I love a good parody. And I mean, when I go to a comedy club, I've been to comedy clubs, and for whatever reason, I get parodied. My friend Chase Bonin started a big comedy thing here, and maybe, he usually picks on me, but there's another comedian one time. This is one of the times I remember, anyways. And he was like, this is the way I was dressed. He was like, hey, it was when he just got up to the microphone, and he looked at me and he's like, hey, you look like the most religious, non-religious person up in here. And everyone laughed. And it was because I had some ghost beads and a crucifix and a St. Christopher medal, and I was wearing Oh, I think I had my sunglasses on because the lights were fucking with my eyes, and I was wearing a jacket, whatever. I looked. He said I looked like you look like the most non-religious, religious motherfucker in here. You're what was he said after that? You're a, paradox. Yeah. Paradox. Okay, so Lydia, Chris Shelton and Tony Ortega broke a story about the original jury foreman in the Danny Masterson trial. The Janes asked them not to until they knew of the DA they knew if the DA would retry. Okay. Chris and Ortega didn't take the jury foreman's bias for Scientology as a problem. Okay. Yeah, thank you. I did not know that. I'm not surprised, when Doug died, like, it was a fight, it wasn't a fight. Tony was, for the first time in years, Tony was being respectful to the degree of his job. And I appreciated that because, we didn't know what happened to Doug. We were still trying to find out. And as soon as the coroner's report came out, he was like, he's a public person now. I'll give you 2 hours. And honestly, that was gracious, in my opinion, because normally it wouldn't even give you any time. Like, as soon as it's public, that's it. Spit it out. And he can always correct it later and make a later, whatever. But that was he honestly, yeah, he approached me in a very and maybe he had to really work to develop this skill, because I know that in the past Tony has not been so good at dealing with sources. Right, Blues, you can relate. It's tough. I'm not trying to put the job down at all, but there were times when Tony was just like really being kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Aggressive. Very aggressive with sources. And sometimes you have to be, if you're a journalist, Blues, right? Sometimes you have to be aggressive to get the information, because if you don't, someone else will get it, whatever, or the source will disappear, right? The source can disappear. The source can go back, and you don't want that. You want to be able to get the information out. So you have to make a lot of those kinds of decisions, and they affect people. But I would say that, Tony has learned over time, or at least in that instance with me and Doug, he had either the sense or the compassion to handle it differently. And yes, there was too much speculation about Doug. When I went for my walk yesterday, I listened to the first half of it wasn't our first broadcast. There are 3 still missing that were they were saved in his account on whatever, the StreamYard. And those I don't think are recoverable. But those got deleted when his channel got deleted, and they were saved in the StreamYard. It's really unfortunate that those got deleted. Those were some of the most comprehensive. Like, it just sucks. I wish I could get a transcript. But I forgot. I don't even have my filter on here. So if I go plosives and sibilants, plosives and sibilants. I mean, Chris and Tony have worked together since Chris was still in. I don't know if everybody knows that, but Chris was the source on the inside for Tony as Galactic Patrol back in 2014, maybe as early as 2013. And Chris, worked with Tony on some of Tony's, I guess what he referred to as research, which was publishing articles about things that were going on inside. And Beach, yeah. I mean, I've said it before. And I actually know someone personally. It's one of my mentors, one of my music business mentors, in Greenwich. She grew up in the '70s in Greenwich Village, and was a editor at the Village Voice at the end of her schooling at law school, and she stayed there for a few years after. But Tony was a writer at the Village Voice, and she remembers him. I asked her one time, I was like, have you ever heard of a guy named Tony Ortega? And yeah. I was like, wow, that's really specific. Because I knew that she worked at the Village Voice, and I knew that he worked at the Village Voice, and I was just curious. And I probed a little, and I was like, so, what was the deal? Why do you remember? He's like, Tony was... This is Leslie Berman, attorney at law. She has a very basic web page. She still practices. She only has one account. It's the Peter, Paul, and Mary Pete Seeger account. So she manages that estate. That's all she needs. That's the only gig she needs. Puff the Magic Dragon. So to me, she's a very reputable source. Yeah, late 80s, early 90s. So, she was in school in the 70s, and she stayed at the Village Voice for a little while after that. So that sounds about right. And, from her version of the story, he was not qualified to be a journalist at the Village Voice. Just on, merits. Meaning, he either didn't have a degree, or he did have a degree and he wasn't reporting fairly and accurately, or impartially. Yeah, Beach. Nick here is responsible for backing everything up. Whenever everything was going on in that crazy 7 to 10 days trying to find Doug, or what happened to him, it was a weekend, I think. But whatever day it was, Nick asked me, when should I back everything up? And I said, go ahead and do it now. So all of the entire YouTube channel was backed up. I don't know where it is, but it's safe. And then the BitChute as well at that time. So doing backups at that time before we knew what happened was probably pretty important. Don't know who has, if anyone has, access to his accounts or anything like that. Let's see if I go on Facebook, if he still has a Facebook, or if it's been memorialized yet. You know, my experience in January, whatever the hell that was, plus, so the death of, I'm not seeing him. Let me look up Douglas Scott Kramer. They may have just not ised him, which would be sad. Yeah, I don't see him on Facebook. And you know what? I'm pretty sure he was removed because when I went to look for the text, it was, or the message on Facebook, it was just blank. I have it all. I have all of the stuff screenshotted and whatnot. Not that I want to share that stuff because towards the end it was really, really bad. But yeah, the losing people, I'm just riffing, man. I took a bong rip this morning, first thing. I didn't sleep much last night. But things rolling around in my head, my friends that are dead, the album, my kids, Louisiana, hurricane season, trying to get my Snap turned back on. Like, how am I going to make money? I've got, I don't know, less than 90 days, maybe less than 60 days before I get an answer on my redetermination for SSI, which would be a big, big, long awaited thing. And years, man. And I'm just about at the end of the road with it, however it goes. I don't know what the hell I'm supposed to do for work. Oh, is it? His profile is still there. Okay. Well, that is bizarre because when I tried to find him in my chat, is it as Douglas Scott Kramer or just Doug Kramer? Yeah, I don't, it's not in my messenger. Oh, please, Facebook, give her a fucking break. I don't have my phone to sync. Whatever. Security issues. There's the link. This content isn't available right now. When this happens, it's usually because the owner only shared it with a small group of people, changed who can see it, or it's been deleted. That's what I got right here. Content is not available right now. So I don't know if maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm blocked. Yeah, in January, I had a procedure and I had an experience that when I've told friends or family that what it was like, they either like, hey, that's what happened when I died, or hey, that's what happened when I took DMT. And I was ready to just let go of the corpus. I was ready to let it all go. And when I woke up, it's since I woke up from that, it kind of feels it's a steady theme to just do whatever the hell it is I got to do to get to that place again. So, but I know that I can't end it prematurely because it won't work. That was one of the things that I came to understand during that experience is that you don't get to leave until you're done. So whatever it is you're doing, you got to finish it. And that was very upsetting to me. And then Deej killed himself, and I'm thinking, the first thought, that lucky motherfucker. And his music, his new album, Aurora, is nothing like his previous albums because he didn't have to be bluesy, southern, bluesy, swamp dude. And the album is absolutely beautiful. I encourage you to check it out. Brother Deej, Aurora. I'll link it for you so you can save it as a playlist or whatever album. It's really, really pretty. And it's not what he was famous for, not what he was made famous for. He knew, as many do here in Louisiana, that if you don't go wanga, 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 or chanka, 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 or have an accordion, nah, pass. You'll have a small devotee group, but even your fans will opt out to go do something else. And he found the market, which it's not like it was found. We know that 4% of the independent music market is in Germany, world scale. And that's just Germany. So it's like, I don't know, something like 14 to 16% of the independent music is in Europe. Okay? Compared to the United States and how vast it is, Europe is doable. When I say doable, I mean like, you can play in what would be the equivalent of a different state. You could do a tour that would be, in essence, a national tour or an international tour in a matter of a couple of weeks. Let me say, for some reason, my brain said December. I need more sleep, clearly. Yeah, me too. I went back to faceplate. Faceplate. That's good. Limit your use. Yeah. I try to only use it for like family photos and stuff and promotional stuff. But I do occasionally get caught in the doom scroll. But I have since last week started doing Instagram. This is part of the recommended stuff that I do to promote the record. And the Scientology stuff. Whatever. I was having a conversation with my psychiatrist. We were talking about Ira. We were talking about people and how unpredictable they are. We were talking about people who are historically nefarious, doing something authentically kind. Because that happens. A person who does something or does things that are horrible frequently may have just some moment where they're like completely in tune with someone on an empathetic level and give them exactly what they need. I guess the point I'm trying to make here is that, surprise. You shouldn't be surprised by anything. People are capable. There's no good and bad people. It's just people. They do good things. They do bad things. Bad things. It might do more bad things than good. Might do more good things than bad. Or might not do much of either. Just kind of float. That's a. There's a line from a Bob Dylan song called "Man in the Long Black Coat." People don't live or die. People just float. There's also themes of good and bad in there. For music, counter social is good, in my opinion. Lots of musicians actual over there. Are you using text to speech this morning, Whitney? So, I talked to Alex about, over to London. I might need endorsements. I have 2 possible endorsements that I could get for a World Talent visa, which would allow me to work and live and go back and forth between here and UK for 5 years. We'll see if that pans out, but I mean, I don't think I can even apply without a passport, and I don't, passport, that's like bougie money. So I got to figure out how to start making some money. And with less than 90, 60 days, whatever it is, on my redetermination, which I just can't be optimistic about at this point, because every appeal that I've made to the government for help, fuck you and die, and almost did. So I don't think they're going to be too happy about it, and they'll just deny it again. And I do feel sort of expatriated. I feel like where I was born, where I live in my country, just is like, you know what? We don't care for you. And that mantra that people like to say, if you don't like the United States, leave. Well, okay, bye. Deej talked about this a lot before he died, and it hurts, to read or to revisit those conversations about it, because, I think that had something to do with the reason he was just about to move there. And I know there were a lot of things that he'd been through other than that, and this is just a piece of the puzzle. But it's a piece of the puzzle that I think is, a connecting piece. It's connected. It was a factor. Why should I have to leave my home in order to work? Leave my country to be appreciated. It's not even about appreciation, really. It's just about, not everyone does the same fucking thing, man. Like, there's certain things that I've done. I've done all kinds of different jobs. I have done many different kinds of jobs. And I can't say that I didn't work my ass off. Like, I really worked hard. is usually never good enough for anybody. But, I worked very hard. Getting a passport in Europe costs you nothing except the pic you need to take for it. Well, you live in a non-capitalist world, okay? Everything costs something, man. And I thought it was more than that, Nick. I was thinking more like 200. So that's good to know. Yeah. The need for capital is high in a capitalist society. Everything costs something. And it's not cheap right now. Anything. Yeah, there's just some of us ain't going to make it, Technically, nobody going to make it. Worm food. But anywhere you go costs you Disney World money if you're coming from the U.S. Is Disney World, that's a lot of money. Anywhere you go costs, yeah. I mean, to get a plane ticket to go there would be like a fucking car almost. Hey, Mark. I miss Doug too. I miss him a lot. Because of the circumstances, and finding out, like I went into this is another thing my psychiatrist and I were talking about is when the shit hits the fan is whenever my engine starts and I can perform. Or I can disassociate. I have a very I have an ability, a skill, whatever you want to call it. It's probably not even a skill because it's just something my brain does. Limbic system gets activated, and in times of crisis, and it scales. Like the more crisis there is, the better off I seem to do compare. Other people will point it out and be like, "Wow, you're so cool-headed. Wow, how did you admit that happened so fast? How did you think to do that? I wouldn't have thought to do that." Well, I'm not in shock. Like I just disassociate. So when people were asking me, this is to Mark, when people were asking me about Doug, and I'm like, how the fuck am I supposed to know? Well, you're his buddy. You're a close buddy. Well, yeah, we were. We had a falling out. I found out some things that I didn't know before. And I found out that there were some other actors involved in actively trying to separate us. And it worked. Why would it not? Why would it not work on someone who had 30 plus years of indoctrination? Doug and I pounded on the fucking table saying it can happen to anybody and still contend that is true. Doesn't matter. You can still get sucked into Scientology. Yes, Whitney, fuckery was afoot, and I tried to warn Doug. This wouldn't have prevented his death, okay? But it would have prevented us from having such an explosive interaction that led to us breaking up, essentially. Because he ran a disconnection cycle on me. And I wasn't having that. Somehow he got triggered into it. I don't know because we weren't talking when I told him not to talk to Tony, and he started talking to Tony, not Tony Ortega, Zero Dark Tony. That our broadcasts only lasted 2 weeks after that, and our rapport, pre-show, post-show, was not good. And when he did the Carandella Carrier Divided Loyalties video and asked me to be in it, and I said no, but I'll moderate it, that further kind of split. He started to get paranoid that I was like some kind of agent. And I feel safe enough to say this now. But yeah, the last conversation I had with Doug was him asking me questions that you would hear a Scientologist ask someone who is on an enemy line. What have you done? And what are you not telling me? And TR3 that. We demonstrated that not even a few weeks before. And he was using it. He was using the ethics technology. What are you hiding? What have you done, and what are you not telling me? I don't know what that was about. No, Mark, nobody knew this. It's not something that I like, Doug, I love Doug. And I'm not going to spoil his memories for me or anyone else. But I needed some time to reflect on everything and grieve. And I still have, part of me going walking and listening to our broadcasts while I was walking. This was part of my grieving process. I'm still in it. It's a forever thing. Yesterday I went and saw my aunt and uncle and my cousin who was shot dead in Bayou Den, which means the end. So Bayou down the road for $12. There's a little shadow box on their fireplace of him. I'm still grieving over Bradley. It's a forever thing. I'll be grieving over everyone that I've lost till I'm dead, and then other people can grieve over me. But the idea, of me publishing all of these messages that were just not Doug. They were not Doug. They were not like Doug at all. They weren't who he was. They were very nasty. So I don't have it's a matter of how I choose to remember him. And I remember the kind and loving and sensitive Doug. That's the real Doug to me. Thanks, Mark. I appreciate it, man. Doug was in distress, Whitney. Let's see. I think Doug was in distress and fell back into basic learned patterns because he was overwhelmed. I don't know, but I've had that feeling of not knowing who to trust. It's sad. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's what it was. It was some other parties saying I was some kind of agent coming out of sleeper cell mode because, for years he had, we had been talking and he wanted me to do something. I'm like, I'm homeless, I'm vagrant, I don't have any money, I have no way to do this. Wait. And he was like a little puppy dog, impatiently waiting. Then whenever it came time to do something, I said, okay, well, let's actually do something that will maybe still be relevant later. Let's not try to ride the fucking hate algorithm. And and I had the name. You know, just a term from Scientology that means back talk, or I always think of it as like a frying pan. You're frying something and the oil flies up and burns the shit out of you, backflash. And really from there, because he understood the terminology and all of the different things that backflash could mean, he got really creative with it and put together the Bridge to Total Freedom, because he went up the bridge and he understood all of the things that you got to do from and let's I'll clarify one thing, is that it's different for everybody. His experience going up the bridge is going to be totally different than someone else's, but still a valid perspective. So, because his folks had the money, you know, to just send him up the bridge and do all the corrective actions. That's one of the things that really, I feel, fucked him up. And to point to what Whitney is saying, fell back into learned patterns. Because he did all these corrective actions, these are extra steps that normally one doesn't have to do, but because of his status in the church, and his father and mother's status in the church, and the money that they had, they put him on every single corrective action they could off every single branch in the bridge. So you want to talk about a major head fuck. The fact that Doug could even have conversations like we did is a fucking miracle. It speaks to the resilience and power and strength of his mind and his own determinism to find out what is true. The moment that he got that book laid on his door that he talked about all the time, Combating Cult Mind Control, that blew his mind open. And from that point, he was just a force to be reckoned with. There was, you could stand him in front of a nuclear bomb and he'd still be standing, metaphorically. That's why I wasn't afraid to live where he lived. I had talked to him about moving, get away. You're too close to places that can enact environmental controls. And if you don't know what that is, I have a 3-hour video featured on my channel called Environmental Controls, talking about what that is and how it can be used in Scientology or outside of Scientology. The government uses it. It's all psyop shit. It's social hacking. And at the end of the day, that's what Scientology teaches, is how to hack social people, how to hack social. Social hacking. You hack people. Yeah. Norm. I didn't know Norm super well, because whenever I'd walk up to him, he'd just hand me his credit card. I think Travis probably knew Norm better, or at least interacted with him more. I spent a lot of my early time in Ventura training with Alex Merrick's. Dana. I'm not sure who Dana is, Mark. I don't keep up with the new stuff. I just don't, because it's always, I got to stay true to myself. And Doug mentions, he spoke very highly of me in some of the early broadcasts, which I feel like is a Chris Shelton thing. I'm one of the good guys. I got an award at the cult convention. I fucking love that joke. Yeah, I'm one of the good guys. I got the good guy award at the cult convention. Let's see here. However, he opened up so many strands with Dana's new stuff. He excited me. Rotting jewels. I don't know what that means. But no, it meant a lot to me that Doug, you know, as that he watched my journey. You know, he watched all the videos, and the one that he would always say was his favorite was the Freak Show, and that's, you know, all of us. And you've seen it. You know, I made the video in 2017 or 2018, right after I went to the event in Clearwater, and I met some of the SPs. And yeah, we're all fucked up, man. And in my opinion, the Aftermath Foundation should have an immediate imperative for people who leave to get therapy. But that is not a thing that I know of at this time. Everybody needs therapy that's been through this shit. Disagree? Okay. But it's hard, especially leaving Scientology, which is an organization or a church that really hammers it into you that psychiatrists are evil. Psychiatrists are essentially where you go to die, because they'll kill you. And they'll smile the whole time. And they don't have the correct information. They don't have KSW. They don't have Scientology. So they can't do it right. Even if you've left and you're like, fuck Scientology, there's still all kinds of remnants. I like saying remnants like that. Remnant. There's lots of remnants. And it's important to explore that shit, figure out what and where and how it all happened. It's very painful, it's uncomfortable, and especially in the beginning it's very uncomfortable because you only get an hour usually with a therapist, whereas with an auditor they're going to fucking ground pound you for 4 to 6 to 8 hours depending on the type of session. And you get used to that. You get used to long sessions. Dana is rotting jewels, doing great discoveries on the Process Church, Scientology, best friend's dog, charity, connections to intelligence. Okay. Is that her channel name, Rotting Jewels? That reminds me of prostate cancer. Which I had. Same connections as Doug was fiddling? You may lose internet. If you can't make it back, have a good day, evening, all. Yeah, today's Monday, Lydia. Have a great week. Glad that you were here. Nick, I think it would be hard for people that are invested in that to integrate after having given away their credit cards so many times, especially when they have families in still to stay on lines with. Yeah, I mean, that's It's wild. It's I do know people that have to ride that thin line, and it's heartbreaking. Oh, Dana was ZDT's sidekick until he screwed her over. Interesting. Okay. All right. Well, I'll have to check that out, I guess. But I'm still going through. I want to clip things. My grieving process is not over yet. Part of it is reliving, or reminiscing, and I've only done some of that. So, as I said, the Doug that I remember and the real Doug was very sensitive, caring. Well, I'd say hypersensitive, even very, very intuitive. And but and no matter how good his bullshit detector could be, it's the same. It's what's tragic, but profound about it is that our relationship, in my opinion, at this time, after having time to have thought about it, was being influenced by third parties, which is a Scientology thing, but it's also a real thing. There were third parties involved in let's split these two up. Let's cause a problem between these, shenanigans. Yeah, I'm curious now. You've got me curious, Mark, about following strands. A lot of times, Doug would just, it was like the serial killer boards with if I make this connection here and this connection here, some of it makes sense, some of it doesn't. Some of it requires taking something as a truth when it's not verified. Like, there were some conversations about the CIA Doug and I had, and Scientology's Hubbard's involvement, potential involvement with the CIA, MK Ultra, and how some of the methods and techniques in Scientology have been adopted or co-opted, adopted, adapted into bigger systems such as the military or the political system or Congress or Senate, whatever. Because I mean, if you look at how small this organization is. Also, we talked about the Milgram and Ash experiments. This was where where I could sort of meet him. Like, okay, the Milgram and Ash conformity, the Milgram experiments, the authority experiments, and the Ash conformity experiments. This is where I could see a 1950s hardline psychiatry government-funded program to see what you can do with a human and get them to believe stuff. Maybe you could make, sci-fi sleeper Manchurian candidate type people. And the research for that is illegal. You can't do it. They stopped at Ash and Milgram after World War II because of what they were like. This is not much different than what the Nazis were doing to the Jewish people, except we're not doing physical experiments. We're doing psychological experiments that cause physical harm to people. In the authority experiment, they thought they were killing people, but they were willing to do it because it was what they were told to do. Just like the Nazis at the camp said, I'm just doing my job. Just put them in the oven. So, I liked Doug's edgy presuppositionalisms. That's a big word. Yeah, that's a good way to put it, though, Nick. Let's presuppose that this is that, and now you can see how this could be that. And in that way, you could really go on far ends of the spectrum of what is likely or possible, but also probably not. If it seems too good to be true, it usually is. If it seems like impossible to pull off, it likely might be. But it doesn't mean that it isn't possible. It's just really just exploration of thought is how I would, approach these conversations about Scientology connected to the CIA, connected to the whatever. And it's very salacious. It's very interesting. It's, it's conspiracy. And I'm not saying conspiracy is bad, because plenty of conspiracies have turned out to be true. So, MK Ultra was a conspiracy until it was not. So, yes, Whitney, possible, but not probable. I think that if there was any, when we do know that Scientology infiltrated the government and basically blackmailed them into tax free status, some of the presuppositions were that they remained and that they still remain and that people and actors still remain in these positions of power, and that the global pedophile ring is powered by this little nuclear reactor called, the technology of Scientology being employed elsewhere. It's possible. Might not be probable. Who knows? You could talk about all kinds of wild shit. And the process church, that's an interesting topic. I had never heard about them until I met Doug, and he posted that documentary, which is one of the reasons why his channel got deleted. And I tried to advise him on that kind of stuff because I was lucky enough to have some mentors in legal. And, I was like, hey, you can't just be reposting copyrighted works without a Title 17 and explaining stuff and, fair use and all that. Later, I saw one of his videos, and at the very beginning, Title 17 and the whole title. Belladonna. Conspiracy can turn into witch hunts. I think you have pointed out facts correctly. It's all about money to me. Yeah, usually. Here. Everywhere. Yeah. Money. Money, money, money. I'm only in it for the money. I'm only in it for the money. That's all I'm here for. I'm going to be a big YouTube star. Make lots of money. That's why I'm here. Anyways, it's 12:07. I started right on time today. I hope everyone has a good week. Yeah, Mr. Beast, right. I saw that dude doing a 20-mile ruck with $100,000 strapped to him. That's a lot of. It was a lot of bags of money. It blows me away at how. Like I try to think of things that would just be ridiculous and stupid, that would somehow be entertaining. But I'm too damn serious all the time. I get what you're saying. Dana, if you have a look, has receipts. Do you want a link for one of the receipted videos? She links MK Ultra to CIA, not by insinuation, but by... Yeah, shoot, send me a link. Or post it in the community tab on the page for everybody. That would be even better. Either or both. I'm glad to see you here, man. Did you used to watch Backflash? Mr. Beast is the freak show. Oh, let's end it with that then, since we talked about Doug. He loved this video, so we're going to watch it. It's part of my grieving, in our community grieving. I'm really sad. I mean, Doug fucking, he was 50, man. Like, and also, it was since January, I'm a little jealous. Why, you know, but his work was done. Apparently, unless there's a whole separate set of rules for other people, in the infinite beyond. So let's find the video here. It's going to be under Chronicles. And there's a lot of them in here. So give me a sec. The freak show. Yeah, Control F. Oh, okay. Let's see. In Theta, the freak show. I will not be part of it. There we go. It was in Chronicles. Okay. So this is Doug's favorite video I ever did. I've probably played it before, but we'll end with this. And maybe a song, because he liked the music too. It is. And if you guys got to bounce out, that's fine. I give you permission.
It's really
I'm running over today.
Tonight.
But if you want to stick around, that's awesome too.
Here's my cane that I made. He's a little snake. I had to bust out the cane again. Having a little problem with my legs again. Nothing major. I can still walk on them. It's just there's some pain. I just posted something on the blog. About psychopaths and how in Scientology it's good training to become a psychopath. Probably doesn't come as a big surprise to most of you. If you'd like, you can check my blog out. But I've spoken with some other ex-Scientologists and connected up with some groups on Facebook. And I'll be honest, having been a guild leader in an online gaming guild with communities that are extremely competitive to a point to it's just toxic, that I don't know if it's worth it. At least not right now. Possibly ever. I've said all that I needed to say, and I've reached out to people to give a more complete picture of what the entire experience on staff is like from the beginning stages of you indoctrinating yourself to being a full-blown Scientologist. I don't know if anybody. I don't know if I think that it's going to be lost on a lot of people. I had an idea to present something in a certain way, to actually show the conditions on staff. But where I'm at right now in my life, I don't have much to go on. I don't have resources to do something like this. I have the knowledge, I have the skill, but it doesn't feel like I have the support. I feel like I'm pretty much the only one speaking out against it and talking about it. Not speaking out against it, but I'm the only one talking about the specific experience that I had with others. And I'm not going to try to pressure anybody into, and hopefully I haven't. I just, I've talked about the idea. Most people that I talk to are receptive to it and okay with it, but it would require, resources I don't have to make it happen. So
basically, cooperation is what it would have required. And after meeting everyone, I saw that was just not a reality.
Again, I have reached out to multiple people who would have who I thought would have had some sort of advice or guidance to offer, but I don't have a good feeling about it. And I went a couple of steps further in, finding groups that may be sort of aligned with what I would like to show. And I don't know who's what, what's who's what. I mean, it's a very confusing series of networks out there. So
that very confusing series of networks is now SPTV, SPTV Verse, Nerdy SPTV, SPTV Trauma Community, SPTV VV.
I know a lot of you. I know a lot of the subscribers every one of you, the exception of the few new people who have subscribed, have been following me for a long time, and have been here for me in ways that my own family hasn't. Been very understanding, very compassionate. But I'm just not sure anymore if it's worth talking about anymore. I know for a fact that telling the stories is not worth spending the time, because I firmly believe that telling the stories is simply a novelty, you know.
In retrospect, at this time, if you had a story about Scientology, you were going to get viewers. So it was just a novelty, and people were there, what I call rubbernecking, and looking at the freak show, the sideshow, prior to the aftermath, and waiting for the aftermath, because they're like, ooh, can't wait for the juicy stuff in the aftermath. But before that, if you had a story to tell about Scientology and you had the courage to go and say it on YouTube, then you would get a lot of views and viewers and people commenting, whether it was Scientologists or not. Anyways, my point that I was making, in retrospect, I feel like I have to correct myself, but the pointlessness was in the novelty of it. Like, if people are just watching, like with the popcorn, oh yeah, that's fucked up. Yeah, fucking idiot, there's Scientology. There's a lot of that. So, anyways, that's what I was saying.
Most people want to hear a fucked up story about a cult. What did you experience? What was it like? Same questions, Did you believe in Xenu? Did you do this? Is it true that this? Whatever. And I've answered all those questions over and over again. And I've offered an alternative solution to explaining what the real dangers of Scientology are. And I don't feel like there is quite as much of an interest, and I'm kind of at my wit's end on that, to be honest. I spoke with someone today who said he'd been in a court case with Scientology for 3 years, and I've never even heard of the guy. So, what the hell is it that he was in court for? And what I'm about to say doesn't pertain to him. I'm not gonna single anybody out. But I do want to single him out and say, because I just met this guy, I don't even know him, but this doesn't pertain to him. I am not the type of person who is seeking to gain some sort of celebrity status out of talking about Scientology. I'm not looking to make this big popular YouTube channel where people come and see the freak show and talk about the freak show. If anything, my goal was to show life-like conditions on staff and let that be the statement, because that is where you would see the real abuses. Hearing about it is one thing, seeing it is another. I don't have the resources to produce this. I have the skills, and I have the talent or the cooperation of others who were on staff as well to make it happen, but I don't have the resources. To put it bluntly, I don't have the budget, I don't have the money. I'm not going to beg for it. I've already presented it to people, in my opinion, who could make it happen. So it's clearly not something that people want to see, or at least people who could make a difference want to promote. Maybe that's a little jaded of me to say that, but that's just my gut feeling. I don't know how else to say it. I mean, my father is a very wise person, very smart person. Been through a lot in life, suffered a lot in his childhood, made a lot of mistakes. And he's taught me a lot about how to go with my gut feeling. And my gut feeling tells me at this point that right now is a circus. Right now is a time it's popular to be an ex-Scientologist. There's a sort of a mini feeding frenzy, and people gobble it up, all of the Scientology content they can. And if people really wanted to know what Scientology was about, they would show it, and they're not showing it. So perhaps one day, whenever I have thousands of dollars at my disposal and the means to fly all these people to where I need to fly them, so that we can show what it's like to be on staff, then I will do that. But until then, I'm not really finding the anti-Scientology communities very friendly. I don't need the negativity in my life, and it's distracting, and it's insulting, and I'm sorry. I really wanted to show you guys and everyone else that doesn't know how cruelly people are treated on staff. But that's not the subject that people are interested in. People are interested in how freakish is it. It's a freak show. It's a circus freak show. And I feel like anyone, and this is what my post was about, that I got enough flack from a group that should be supportive of ex-Scientologists, as supportive as one group should be, because my post was about psychopaths. And if you were a Scientologist ever on staff, or even a public, but particularly staff, you are a psychopath. And that includes Leah Remini, Mike Rinder, Marty Rathbun, Debbie Cook. Anybody who has come out and spoken at one time was a fucking psychopath, okay? That includes me. That includes my brother. That includes everybody who was a Scientologist, was a psychopath, a manipulating, evil psychopath, thinking that they were doing a good thing. So, if people cannot own up to that and admit and talk about and show what it is that they did wrong. And this is a point of contention that might really press a lot of people's buttons in the wrong way, because this is something, unfortunately, that the church would throw at anyone speaking against Scientology, and I'm going to throw it there too, because this is true. I'm all for exposing the abuses in the church. There are many. But what is it that you did? And why is it that you're all only talking about what the church did? I want to show what I did to people. And there are other people who want to show what they did to me. And there are other people who want to show what they did to other people. And to me, that is a much more altruistic way to present this to the public. And journalism and the news and the feeding frenzy and the freak show is not something I am interested in at all. So, until something changes drastically, I'm just going to, I'm just going to stop, because there's no point. Even if my videos got circulated through all of the groups and all of the circle, it's still just a freak show. Look at the new freak. And I'm not a freak, you know. I'm willing to talk about the things that I did.
I mean, I am a freak, just probably not in the way that I was, you know.
I've shared my experience, but I want to show how psychotic being a Scientologist is. And no one wants to see that. So, peace, man. All of you, I love you. I hate to say goodbye. And hopefully this won't be the last time you hear from me. But I just can't right now. It's just too ridiculous, you know. I won't be part of this freak show. I won't be part of the freak show. I'll be happy to show how damaging it is. But it's going to be done correctly. It'll be done the way, unfortunately, the only way to show it is to show the way LRH wants you to do it. And that's the real psychotic way. And I haven't seen it. You know, I've talked about it in other videos. There's a tiny, tiny little bit in Louis Theroux's movie, but not enough. Not enough to show the progressive destruction of a human life and their sanity. You can talk about it all you want. You can tell a million stories, but a picture is worth 1,000 words, and a video can change people's ideas. And I can't produce that video. Not without resources, you know. I've got I'm broke. I live with my parents. I'm about to have to file for disability because this is the third time that I've had to pull out this cane, and hopefully I won't have to pull out the wheelchair for a third time. So, and I'm in school, and you know, I like to spend time with my kids and do things that are fun. And to be honest, recreating life on staff Ain't gonna be fun, but it's something that I believe should be done, but I can't do it with no help. I've sent messages to all of the people that I thought could help, and there's no response. So, you know, I can't do it. I mean, I'm not going to do it, is what I'm saying. I'm not going to put all of my assets, resources, which I have nothing. So I'm not going to put my energy into it just to get sued, you know, just to get sued. I have nothing already, so don't feel like getting sued. Don't feel like being part of a freak show. And I'll admit I'm a little jaded about, you know, making an authentic effort to try and expose what it is really like to dehumanize people on a day-to-day basis, and to show that instead of just telling stories for people to eat popcorn and watch. So I hope you guys understand. You've been the most understanding group of people regarding this subject ever. So
Present company included.
I trust you, and you should trust me, because whenever I stopped making videos, I left a video.
You should trust me because I got the nice guy award at the cult convention last week.
Called Ta-ta for now. And I said, I'll be back whenever the time is right. And that's essentially what I'm saying again. It's not time. People aren't ready. I'm not going to be in the freak show. And the people who could help me aren't really interested. There's no exclusivity there. So, and I'm sure if anyone who is a part of that group that watches this will just grimace and I'm sorry, this is the fucking truth, and you know it. You got to show how this is happening to people. So you can tell all the fucking stories you want. It's not going to change people's minds about it. A picture is worth 1,000. I mean, you're in the press, you're in the media. A picture is worth 1,000 words. A video can change people's minds. I love all of you subscribers. I wish I could name you all. But just know that your support since really 2014, so 3 years of support, it's invaluable. You helped me out a lot, and I love you guys. And if anything, maybe I'll keep covering the psychological aspects that Kaiva Go put in the cyber psych video. I don't mind talking about psychology. I'm a big fan of it these days. So if you're into psychology, you know, you might get a little bit of my past experience in Scientology. But as far as showing something that needs to be seen, I don't have the support to do so. So if you feel so inclined, maybe you could write them. You know all of the sources that I'm talking, that I've mentioned. I don't even have to name them, because you know who they are. And with that, if my camera wasn't so well, if there wasn't a light right here, you could see how beautiful it is in Louisiana right now. There's a really beautiful foggy mist outside. And I'll leave it at that. Love you guys. Bye. Xenu, Xenu.
All right, so that was that. I'm gonna end it with Band of Sinners. Goodbye, Hallelujah. I'll get flagged, but it won't be a issue. It'll just maybe play a commercial at some point. It's the last song off All the Angels Have Left Us. I'll dedicate it to Doug, just like the video. I do miss Doug very much. I wish I could call him. He's still in my frequently contacted on my phone. Have a good week. Go to my damn Instagram, because I got to do that shit now. I'm promoting my music. I'm gonna throw that in your face. This album is from another band I was in, but I'm posting stuff on Instagram now. I'm trying to figure out how the fuck it works. For now, here's Goodbye Hallelujah to end off today, 38 minutes after the hour, June 10th, 2024.
Danced in the parlor, soft as a shadow, breaking with every last breath. And I know you're leaving. What can I do? Well, I've tried, I've given my best. The saddest of seasons, your suicide eyes, a smile. Remember the time woke up to see you already left me. Goodbye, hallelujah. Take me down New Orleans. Bury me eventually. Take me down New Orleans. Bury me. Bury me. You're leaving tomorrow. Prettier skies. You said all you needed to say. Old country singers play songs we've forgotten. Let's not get carried away.